Hello, friends. Mr. Nugent here. So we're taking today and looking at this concept of selective incorporation. This is a concept that's covered a lot in AP Government and Politics, and it's something that really encompasses a lot of the government concepts that are covered in the AP course, as well as a lot of other courses within the social studies curriculum at the high school level, and will definitely come up more often than not at the undergraduate level at your local college or university. So first question we have to look at is, what is selective incorporation? Selective incorporation is this constitutional doctrine that has been created that protects individuals against states creating laws that infringe upon the constitutional rights of their citizens. So essentially what happens is that any type of local government, state government, or even national government cannot create any type of law, provision, policy that directly prohibits or directly infringes upon the constitutional rights that an individual has within that society. So this is really important because, and under the Constitution, there is a section referred to as the Supremacy Clause. The Supremacy Clause states that the United States Constitution is supreme above all other layers/levels of government. It's above local governments, it's above the state government, as well as it's above national governments. Therefore, any action, any type of policy, any provision cannot be invoked by any of these entities if it does in fact directly infringe or take away the constitutional rights protected to an individual. This selective incorporation has been looked at multiple times in various different United States Supreme Court cases throughout American history. Selective incorporation, the framework for it, can be found under the 14th Amendment, and that's where you take and they look at both the Due Process Clause and also the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment to create the framework to which these selective incorporation cases are challenged or looked at. And more often than not, selective incorporation will be seen in a lot of cases. Some very famous cases to think about would be the District of Columbia versus Heller in 2008. This case specifically looked at the Second Amendment, whereas you have a federal agent who lives in the jurisdiction of the District of Columbia, Washington, D.C., and throughout the day he carries a firearm for his job, but in the jurisdiction within the boundaries of the city, for you to be able to have a firearm in your own home for protection, you have to file for a permit, to which this officer does. And after he files for the permit to be able to keep his own firearm at home, he received a denial letter from the review board. They denied his permit. So he challenged this. The argument was that this local government in Washington, D.C. created a law that made it almost impossible to be able to own a firearm for protection within the jurisdictions of Washington, D.C. This was seen as being a direct violation of selective incorporation by prohibiting that officer from being able to be able to keep a gun in their home for protection. This can be seen even in the Gideon versus Wainwright case, whereas the state of Florida was following a law that essentially said that an individual was only given rights to counsel or an attorney if the case to which they were being taken to trial for was a case that involved the potential punishment of death. So it had to be a capital punishment case, to which Clarence Earl Gideon challenged this in the court systems of Florida and eventually made its way all the way to the United States Supreme Court, that argued that every individual, no matter what the circumstances or the level of crime committed under the Constitution, should be in fact entitled to a lawyer. So these are broad spectrum differences in relation to the content and the context of the cases, but they both deal with whether or not a local, state, or national government entity can create a law that infringes upon an individual's constitutional rights, which, as we found out today, they cannot do. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and check back from time to time for other videos that focus specifically on different government concepts within the government realm, as well as diving into cases specifically in addition to other actions that make up the government. Have a great afternoon, everyone, and I look forward to seeing you next time.